down there just to kind of make sure everything does go where I think it does. Marked off where the bridge saddles should go, and that gave me the pickup location there. So used where the bridge saddles were and the actual bridge. Let me find it so I can make sense of that. Here we go. Oh, it's right in front of me. I couldn't see it. So here's the bridge. This little line here, you can see that. That is from the scale length where the bridge should go. So we get where the strings sit in at that point, and that lines up the hole here. So I've drawn I traced inside of that, which gives me the bridge pickup location. And then that's how I reference onto here on the this larger template, that shape there, this middle part is that. So that's how I've oriented everything. And I'm a little bit light here. Oops. Don't know if that's better or worse for the camera, but it's getting marginally better for me. Jaeger Maxim, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. I'm not sure what you've caught so far, but we're kind of getting towards the end of this Telecaster build. Oh, subscribed as well. Thank you very much. Have you caught the stream before? I don't know if you have. I'm not sure if we've met, but if we haven't, my name is Alexander. I'm in Sydney, and I'm an amateur kind of woodworker, maker, guitar builder / other stuff. And this is my second guitar I've ever built, and it's coming along pretty nicely. I think we're just about done with all the big work on this one, and we're getting onto the sanding and finishing very soon. Hopefully in the next hour would be very nice. Everything seems to take longer than you think it will. Yeah. Alright, that's looking okay. Just want to make sure that definitely is not going to shift while I'm doing this. That would be tragic at this point to have the template wobble out of place when I'm working on it. Yeah. Alright. That I'm pretty happy with there. Right, so now we need to get the router and set it to depth. Where is it? Is it a router table? No, it's not a router table. There it is. Half the time I go wandering around the garage looking for the router, and it's in the router table already. So I haven't done that this time. So off to a great start. So we can see I've got a pattern bit here in the router. So it's got a little bearing along the bottom, which is the guide. It's going to follow this template. And that's the bit that it won't cut. So it won't cut in the template, but it will cut all this wood below it, which is what we want. But I need to get to the right depth. So normally in Telecaster, the depth of this through the wood would be 3/4 of an inch, or sometimes an inch in some builds. I'm going to go a little bit more conservative with that and kind of work my way down, because generally Telecasters, they have a pick guard, and you might notice that this one doesn't have one here. It's not going to have one here. So normally the neck pickup would attach to that pick guard, kind of float below it. Instead, it's going to be sitting on the wood and sort of poke up. So if I had a pick guard, it doesn't matter if you go down too far, because it's not going to be contacting the bottom of that wood anyway, because it's going to be hanging off that pick guard. That not being the case here, I needed to sit on the wood, so I want to take my time kind of working down a bit and get it to what I think is about the right height. yeah, for it to sit. If it turns out that I go too deep somehow, that's all right. We'll figure out how to fix that. But I just want to be a little bit concerned to take my time working down to that. For the bridge pickup, it's going to be just like a normal Telecaster build with where it's going to be hanging off the bridge itself. So it doesn't matter too much if I go deeper than I need to there. That's all going to be fine. As always, you are welcome to ask questions and chat and whatever in the stream as you like. The bit I enjoy most about this actually is about the stream thing is just sort of talking to people about the process I'm doing, what I'm thinking, and sometimes getting feedback from people as well. So I know there are some guitar builders in the audience here who have done a lot more of this than I have, and I'm always welcome to suggestions on how to do things better. I had a conversation yesterday about whether people do the pickups first and then line the neck, or if they do it the other way around, and it seems quite common people do the pickups first and then do the neck. I've done the neck and now I'm doing the pickups. But that's the same thing I did in the last one, so I'm expecting that to work okay for me. I guess we'll find out if it does. Right, okay, so to get the depth, let's see. Here's the router with its housing. Don't know what you call it. Housing will do. So to adjust the depth, we can move this thing up and down to expose more or less of the blade. I know how much I want to go down. I want to start by going down about just a few millimeters and work my way down to the depth I want. So to do that, I'm going to use a little spacer piece of wood to help me set the depth. So by putting the spacer here, sitting this atop it, and then lowering the router until the cutting edge contacts the wood, I know that when I take that spacer away, that's going to be the depth that I go through that wood. So that's a good way to do it. Problem is the bearing's not exposed here. So this is actually the wrong bit for this. This is the one that already happened to be in there. So I'll need to get a different router bit, which has a shorter cutting blade. And that will get us started. And I'll probably need to use at least two or three different blades to do this. Blades, bits. I keep saying blades, I mean bits. Right, so that's my smallest one. That's the one we're going to start with. And where did I put the spanners? I really need to do a better job of organising where these little tools and stuff go. So I'm always losing things like these little spanners that are used for adjusting the router bits. So that's one. There's another one I need. Unless I've got... So that one's for there. If I can find... No, that's too small. Where is it? Okay. Shifting spanner will do the job for that. That's it. Go. So funny how different words mean the same. We call them wrenches. Yeah, it's it probably is a wrench. I don't know. I've always called it a shifting spanner. I don't know why. I don't know where I got that term from. But it's like that, isn't it? Like if you watch. So most of the things I've learnt to do, I've done from sort of mix of experimentation and watching YouTube. So the people watching YouTube that are from North America, talk about cutting rabbets into to wood when you need to sort of join. What kind of join? Where you're slotting one piece of wood kind of into the edge of another. That's a rabbet. If you watch English streamers, then it's a rebate. The English term is rebate, but it's exactly the same thing. On another guitar stream, just trying to understand what someone was telling me. They were talking about using spacers with screws, and eventually figured out that they were talking about what I call washers, and I had never heard them called spacers before like that, but maybe it's a contextual thing, I don't know. Anyway, tomato. A crescent wrench, and the other is an open end wrench. Oh, okay. Rabbits and washers, okay. Yeah, that person was on Manny's stream, and I can't remember who it was, but not that it matters, but I'm pretty sure they were American. Yeah, I don't know. Right. I don't know if I've got a vacuum attachment that hooks up to here. I'm going to see if I can find one. It's fairly recent. I've got this this attachment, and it's the same size as the Ryobi vacuum cleaner nozzle, so that's not going to help me there. Although, so when we moved in this place, it had a swimming pool, and I happen to know the swimming pool hose fits over this. So I wonder if that means it also fit over that. That might work. We're going to try that. I've been saying I need to get better at doing dust collection in here because it's a bit of a disaster. Every time I use the router up here, there's just dust and chips flying everywhere, and it's not great in terms of having to tidy up, or probably just having dust flying around, even though I'm using a mask while I'm doing it. You use safety glasses? Yeah, so do I. I sometimes don't. If I'm routing MDF, I might not use glasses then every time rigorously. But yeah, anything that might actually sort of chip out, I'm always wearing glasses. Probably should anyway, just in case a bit breaks or something. I don't know if that's a thing that can happen, but yeah. All right. Power on. This is going to get noisy, so I'm going to turn the volume down. So I'm going to have the vacuum cleaner on and the router going. Just connecting into the OBS thing. I'm using this thing called Updeck, which is like a stream deck, but it's an app. And it lets you control OBS, so mute. Okay. All right, encountered our first problem. This is a hollow body guitar, and I thought I had wood back as far as here, but I don't. So I'm actually routing down into the cavity, which is only a problem because I thought I'd have some wood there to put the rest of the pickup on. But I don't, and that's okay because we'll come up with another plan. Either maybe creating a mount, like a ring, or else I could perhaps glue a block in place or something at the right height. I'm not too worried about that now. I'm going to keep kind of cleaning up this this route. I can take off the guide now because I've got enough depth there that I can continue to use the bit I've already routed out as the guide. Yeah, tape really held on well that time. It's kind of a hassle to pull those things off sometimes. They can get really, really stuck, but better that than it shifting while you're working with it. A little bit of tear out around the edges here. Sandpaper will fix that up. Yeah, so yeah, this neck pickup's got to go down further anyway. Although, yeah, it's going to go down further. All right, let's do some more. I didn't see any dust flying around from that. That collection was working really well. So I'm going to leave the mask off for that. This gets a little bit harder with the goggles as well. Oh, I forgot to mute at that time. Apologies. All right. So we can see, let me see if I can give you a view in there. Oh, there we go. All right, you can see it's a little bit ugly in there because it was never sort of cleaned up after I used the Forstner bits to go and hog out a whole lot of material. That's definitely down deep enough for this neck pickup. I went deeper than I was originally planning to because there was nothing useful in terms of support material anyway, so I just wanted to kind of clean it up a bit. I don't want to go too much further though, because I don't need to. But that would sit in there, something like that. But there's nothing to mount the pickup to at the moment, so we'll come back to that. I'm going to finish doing the bridge pickup cavity and see if that fits. Oh, no, that way. Okay, yep, so that fits that way. That's nicely centered. See the lines are marked on the edge. They just go either side of that last pole piece on both sides. So I've got that all right. That's looking good. Just need to get that to the right depth. So if this one goes down to 3/4 of an inch or whatever, I guess that's probably what we want. At the moment it's, let's see. It's about 10 mils, 3/4 of an inch is 19-ish mils. So we've still got a way to go here. Hey Lynn, how are you? All right, so again, we're going to do our trick with the spacer here. Just so each time, if I keep using the spacer, each time I measure against it, I know I'm going to be cutting that much deeper. And with routers, you want to creep up on your target depth. That looks about right there. Yes, what I was doing here was I've got this just a little machinist square. I just measured out 19 mils, put a little tape marker so I could use that to just drop that in place. That's right on 19 mils now, which should be enough for this. So you can see here I did actually leave material in the middle, but I didn't have enough back there. I think that's because I mismeasured because I had that extra bit on the top here, which I cut off yesterday. I think I measured from that, so I didn't leave quite enough in the neck, but that's okay. Here we've got plenty. You can see that's those pole pieces are only very slightly above the level of the wood. They're definitely going to need to come up a bit, which they will when we use the bridge here and the screws in there to raise that up to whatever height we need, probably just that high or something like that, I think. I see that. Definitely below the height of the saddles anyway, I think. So that'll be where the strings are passing over. Yeah, so that's good there. Happy with that. Need to figure out what to do about the neck pickup situation. So the options we have that I can think of, and maybe someone else in chat has more options, but we can do a pickup mounting ring, which would just like on that you see on like a Les Paul or something like that, where you've got a ring around the outside here, screw holes going through that, both into the wood of the guitar top and also into the pickup, the side of the pickup. So you can see we've got the two mounting holes there, which we use with screws to raise or lower the height of the pickup. So that's the first option, is to go and create that pickup ring, which will work fine and it'll look okay. I'd like to not have that if I can avoid it. Second option is to glue in some risers in here in the bottom so that we can have somewhere to attach the screws here. So my thinking is that we have, let's use this as an example. So we've got the mounting holes here. If we have screws going through those and into the wood of the guitar, we can set it to whatever height we want and also have it attached into those risers inside there. So that's probably less work and also more like what I want, I think. If I have to go and create a pickup ring, I mean, I've already got some wood I could do. I could probably use this piece, for example, and just kind of round that off, make a pickup shaped thing in the middle, screw it on. But it's not, I probably wouldn't use this piece, but because I want it to match, but it's going to sort of spoil the overall look of the guitar a little bit, I think. It's not going to have that sort of just clean, bare woodwork. Yeah, you like the idea of a trim ring, Rach? Yeah. I mean, it would look all right, but it's not the look I'm going for. If I had other hardware on it, like if I had, a pickup, part of a half, what am I saying? Like a half pickup guard, or if I had the, like a metal control plate or something like that, then that would be fine to have the ring as well. But just because I don't have that, I've got this kind of minimalist look to it. That's the reason I don't want a pickup ring there. And that's the only reason, really. So I think I'm going to go with this plan to do some sort of riser. Only thing is to glue those in place, I'll need to get rid of a bit more material down there. So you can see there's some bits kind of sticking out that are probably where I'll need to glue something in. Not so much on this side, got a little bit of clearance, but here there's this little chunk down the bottom that I'll need to get rid of. And I could either do that with a router or some chisels. First I'm going to see what material I can use to do that. I'm thinking if I've got a piece of dowel, wood dowel, that's the right diameter here to get in here, that would be perfect because that will just be easy to slot in place and not much work to size. Let me see what I've got. Okay, I do have a couple of pieces of dowel from previous projects I've been doing. This one's quite thick. This is Tassie oak. Tasmanian oaks are popular hardwood in Australia for all sorts of stuff. A little bit wide, so I'd have to show. Oh, I can't see the overhead. Let me this guitar and have a look. A little bit wide there to go in. Be easy enough just to shave off a bit, because that's just cutting along the grain. Be easy to do it with a chisel to cut that down to size. We've got this one's also Tassie oak, I think. Yeah, this one's Tassie oak too. This one's very thin. That's a bit too thin, so we can roll that one out. This is like Goldilocks in the three dowels. And this one is just right. Also, Tassie oak. Who would have thought? And, oh, looky there. That is just smaller than the pickup cavity edge there. So that could work. If I glued that in, then we just need to sort of drill a hole in that for the screw to go through. I kind of would like a slightly tighter fit though, just because this would be held in just by glue. You can see there's like a lot of wiggle there. So I'm thinking I might actually start with that thicker dowel, thus breaking the Goldilocks story. We'll start with the big one and trim that back a bit so we can get like a tighter fit through there. I think that might be a little bit better. Although it's still going to be attached just by glue, isn't it? Because once we get below the top, there's nothing actually holding it in place because it's all hollow in there. So I will get a bigger surface to screw into though, so it might be a bit better because of that. A bit more glue attached. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to try cutting this down to size and I'll see how much of a pain that is. And then maybe I'll make a decision. Just going to unplug this router so I don't want to accidentally knock it and switch it on or something. Okay. Rage, feel free to do a shout out for yourself and anyone else in the channel who needs one. In fact, anyone can do a shout out. It's not limited to mods. So go wild, share the love, and so on. I've got something tucked away as well. Can get rid of the bridge and bridge screws. Put them back in the bag. mark that there. There. That's about how much I want to take off. How deep do we need that to go? Something more deep than that. Oh, Kitecrafter raiding! Oh, I haven't had a raid like that before. Actually, I heard one raid from Amanda Easton a while ago. Welcome to the stream. I take it you make kites. I haven't seen your stream. That sounds interesting. I made one myself a little while ago, and it didn't fly very well. So perhaps I need to watch your stream. Yeah, one of the things I did during lockdown, when we were living in an apartment, I didn't have a garage, was I tried to make my son, who was 4 at the time, a kite. And actually made two. I made a very little one, which worked in the courtyard, and that kind of worked okay. Then there was a bigger one that we tried to fly in the field out behind the apartment block, and that one just didn't work at all. But welcome along. What we're doing here is making a thin line Telecaster guitar, and we're kind of approaching the end of the build. I've just done a bunch of routing here to route the pickup holes, which is the last kind of major work on the body shape. We can see here, if you look just in there, you can see there's a little bit of shiny purple stuff going on. The wood itself is, I think, Queensland maple, not sure. It's from some furniture that on Facebook Marketplace, someone said, oh, there's a council throw-out, people throwing out all this furniture, it'd be a shame if it all gets dumped. And I saw that at 8:30 p.m. one night, and immediately threw a bunch of tools into the car and drove over to the next suburb where it was, and spent an hour banging apart this nice piece of furniture to get this wood. That's from the same piece of furniture. You can see it's a hollow body design. I've got a little control plate with some magnets holding it in place, although they're a little bit weak, so I might need to put some stronger magnets in. And there's also a neck for it. Jim Fick, I hope that's right. Welcome to the stream. Anyway, so what I'm doing now here is fixing up an error I made. Well, a miscalculation, let's call it. Here's our bridge pickup in position, and we can see that it sits nicely there. There's actually a bridge that sits on top of it. The pickup's mounted to the bridge and floats in that hole. In the case of the neck pickup, we don't, normally on Telecaster you've got a pick guard, and the similar thing kind of happens. You've got these mounting holes which screws go through the pick guard into these holes, and you can use those screw holes to adjust the height of the pickup relative to the pick guard. So you can raise it closer to the strings or lower it away from the strings. This design not using a pick guard, because I want to sort of show off that wood. Instead of it floating under the pick guard, it needs to sit on top of something. When I made this, I thought I'd left enough wood back in this direction that I'd be routing into wood and have something for this to sit on. It turns out I don't, and I've got a cavity immediately below here. So now I'm just figuring out how to deal with that. The obvious options were to go make up a pickup ring out of wood or something and have the same situation as originally planned, where we've got this coming up through the wood and mounted onto that ring. I don't like that because it changes the overall aesthetic of the design. So instead, I'm looking at gluing some blocks in place here and here, which will give me a place to mount through the mount holes here into that wood, and then I'll be able to control the height of that as well, but more importantly, just have something to fix it to. So that's the plan here at the moment. The way I'm trying to do that is by using some dowels, which I'm going to just cut down to closer dimensions and see how that looks as a fit. And if that looks like it'll work, then that's what we'll do. Otherwise, we'll reorient and figure out something else. But I'm hopeful that this will sort it. So, oops, just need to make sure I'm cutting the right height. Yep. That's about right. I'll make this just slightly oversized, and I can always cut it down to size, right height. You can always take off more wood, but you can't put it back so easily. So just got to give myself enough of an allowance there. And I'm just sawing down here to about the depth that I want to take off this top bit. So I need this to be not a circle, it's actually wider than that hole. And I'm just figuring out a point where I'm going to use a chisel over here just to cut down through, chop down through that, along that grain. So if I go and point this down here, we'll see what I'm doing. Okay, there's actually not going to be that much to see here. Just going to get the chisel out and give it a bit of a whack. And it should all just split away nicely. At least that's the plan. Let me turn this around the other way so you get a little bit better view. Okay. And the reason I sawed through that was so this doesn't split all the way down. Just realised I need to go a little bit deeper. When I put the chisel in here, it will split along that grain because I'm cutting in the side that aligning with the grain. It should just split fairly cleanly along there. And providing I've sawn to the appropriate depth here, that split will stop when it reaches the saw line. With the caveat that I could have screwed this up somehow, and I guess we'll find out. Let's see. It's only dowel, so it's, you know, not the end of the world if we have to do it again. That's pretty much what we wanted. Okay, I'm just going to jump over the other computer and have a look at the chat here. It's hard to, I'm reading from the monitor that I've got there. It's hard to see what's going on sometimes. Oh, Bryzy, welcome. I didn't see you drop in. Good morning. Catch you with Metallicana. I'll say hi to him for me. Team KDK, welcome. Jim F, YYC equals Calgary, Alberta, Canada airport code. Oh, okay, there we go. All right. Well, welcome, Jim. Thanks for joining us. My apologies, the sound alerts aren't working. Careful, mate, don't want any slippage in the wrong direction here. Am I in Australia? Yes, I'm in Australia. It's 12:30 p.m. at the moment. And yeah, I'm in Sydney, Australia. Sunny Sydney today. It's been rainy Sydney for a couple of weeks. It's been very dreary weather. Actually, dreary is not even the right word. It's just been pissing down rain. It's been crazy. We didn't have much rain for a long time, and then we got all the rain. I've got this strange spiky succulent plant thing that it's got these really long leaves, like, you know, 1.5 meter leaves, which have these huge spikes on them. The plant itself is, I don't know, it was 3.5 meters tall maybe, or something like that. It's more than, I think it's about tripled in height because it started growing this flower, which apparently they only grow once every, I don't know, 8 or 10 years or something like that, or sometimes once and the plant dies. But anyway, I noticed in January, this thing, it had a little thing growing out of the top, and I had to go back and look at some old photos of the garden and see if I was imagining that it wasn't there before. And sure enough, it hadn't been there before. But in the course of 8 weeks, this thing's grown up to, I don't know, probably, it must be about 14, 15 meters high. It's really tall, and that's due to all the rain and stuff, I think. It started growing, and then we got a whole lot of rain, and it's just gone gangbusters. Okay, that is, if anything, I've taken off too much there, I think. I actually didn't need to take off that much. I'm going to try this again. Let's chop through this guy. Saw through, rather. need to take off anywhere near that much. I'm going to go a little bit more conservatively on it with the chisel this time. But you know, this being a very quick operation to do, I'm not too worried about making mistakes, which is why I didn't take enough care the first time. There we go. Let's see if that looks any better. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. So that one would do for there, I think. What about the other side? That's. I need to take out some material on that bottom there. So in this cavity, this on the right side here, it happens to line up with where I've used a Forstner bit to hog out a whole lot of material. On this side, it doesn't. It's kind of in the curve around a Forstner bit, so I just need to chop down through this a bit. Doesn't need to be pretty, just needs to be quick. This build's been going on for weeks because I don't get a lot of time to work on it. But I'm so close to getting to the finishing stage, and that's when I'll be able to kind of spend a bit more, well, not more time, but just once I've got the sanding and I'm starting to apply finish, then it's just going to be a matter of 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day or whatever, doing a bit of extra finishing work and putting on another layer of the oil and polymix I'm going to use, and then a couple of weeks will go by and it'll be done. It'll have lots of coats and be ready to assemble. And there's a little bit of electronics work to do, not really all that much. So originally I bought a control plate and pick guard for this, thinking I was going to use those. Then I found this wood and decided this was too nice to not show off. So I decided not to use those things, but anyway, the control plate so it came pre-wired with switch and potentiometers. So taking those out, those are already wired up. All I've got to do is connect the pickups to them, connect it all to the control jack and ground the bridge, and that's pretty much it. So not much in the electronic stuff to do. And oddly enough, the electronics is what gave me the most problems on my other build. This is only my second guitar build. I spent ages trying to get the electronics right, which is what I thought was going to be the easy bit, because I'm new to all the woodworking stuff. This is only something I've started doing in the past year and a half. But before that, I've done like lots of little electronics projects. So I was quite surprised that I had that much difficulty with it. Anyway, that's not perfectly straight. I think I didn't do enough on that template. Just want to clean this up while I'm here. A little bit more. Switch to the overhead for this. So I'm just trying to get a kind of cleaner line along the top here. So I used a template I made out of MDF and hand carved with chisels and files and stuff to get this. So it's not quite perfect, but it's near enough that now I can see that it's not quite right. I can clean it up a little bit. I think that's pretty decent. Might come back to it later. Let's focus on this bit. So that there, this was the other one I did. That might actually. That could be okay. Okay, let's look here. Yeah, so that's okay, I think. On that side, it's clearance on both sides. That will do the trick, I think. Okay, I'm going to need 2 of this length. Get that going. So in the future, is the future good? No, run now. It's a zombie apocalypse. It's been zombie apocalypse for 2 years, really, hasn't it? I think we're over the zombie apocalypse. Also going to be in the winter soon. Maybe that's why we get a lot of rain. I think we actually get less rain in winter. It seems like we get more sometimes. It kind of feels like it, but I think we actually get less rain. Maybe it happens more frequently, but less volume. But I don't know if you're aware, but we've actually got floods in parts of Australia at the moment. It's a town called Lismore, which has just got smashed, and they're really in a bad way with the flooding. Okay, how much do I need there? I think I want. Okay, I can measure off this, I think. So I want it to be about that deep down, which would be there. So I need, right, down to there-ish, I think. Yep, okay. Except I'm going to have to lose that bit there, so really it's going to be, okay. I'm just muttering to myself, don't mind me at all. Yeah, the Narix chisels, they are good. I got them because they were recommended by a couple of woodworking YouTubers I watch. One was a guy called Rex Kruger, and the other was, I think it was Stumpy Nubs. Anyway, so they're both YouTubers I've been watching and learning a lot from. I think I mentioned, I've only been woodworking for a year and a half or so. And they're great. They're recommended because they're made in Czech Republic, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, Czech Republic. And they're kind of at that price point where they're not hugely expensive, but they're good quality, better than what you'd get in your local hardware store from Irwin or whatever. They're better than those. I have got some Irwin chisels as well. Where are we there? Yeah, and these Irwin chisels. They're okay for kind of general around the house kind of stuff, or stuff where I'm willing to kind of bash the chisel a bit. I've also got these other chisels which I literally found both of these on the side of the road at different times, and I kind of sharpen them up a bit, and I call these my persuasion chisels. So I'll happily use them on things like nails and screws and stuff that I just want to bash out of the way if that's the easiest way to get something done. But these Narix ones, yeah, I've only got 3 of these Narix chisels for kind of the finer work. This is the biggest one I've got. This is the 12mm one. I've also got a 6 and a 3. And yeah, they're a great buy. I'm very happy with these. After I set them up and sharpen them, they've been great. They've held an edge really well. They cut really well. So you're a woodworker yourself, Team KDK? I'm definitely not calling myself a woodworker. I said beginning woodworker, but even that's a stretch, I think. I'm an idiot with tools, and I make stuff sometimes. That's probably the best way to describe the situation here. Definitely not a proper woodworker, definitely not a luthier by any stretch of the imagination. A luthier being someone who creates stringed instruments. Yeah, so... Alright, I think I've got enough there for 2 of these posts. Yeah, they're going to need to be glued and clamped in place, I think. I don't know how to clamp them. I might have to just put something heavy on them somehow. I'll figure out that when we get to it. In fact, at this point, I think I'm going to kind of leave that here for dealing with this dowel stuff. I know what I need to do here. That's not hugely interesting. So I think we might do a bit of sanding on this. Because I've been looking forward to seeing what this wood's all going to look like. Because I kind of gave it a bit of a sand and ran some spirits over to bring that wood out early on. But since then, I've done a whole lot of carving and shaping and all the rest of it. I want to go and go through the grits to get this to a point where it's ready for finish. Give it a clean down with some spirits and see what it actually looks like. And that's probably where I can leave it for today for the stream. And I'll deal with all this mounting hole nonsense later on. So let's do that. Hope everyone's on board with that, because that's what I want to do. So it means I can get rid of the router here where I think we're done with this guy. Let me grab the orbital sander and the sandpapers. What have I done with the orbital sander? Oh, there it is. On the floor. Why did I put it on the floor? Silly. What do we got here? That's 80. That's more coarse than I want. I think I want 180 to start with. This is 180. Looks like it's taking a little bit of a beating. So is this one. It's 120. That's... I'm not sure what that is. That one can go in the bin. That 80's okay. All right, let's start with this 180. Actually, I'm going to get a fresh one. Yeah, this one's well worn up and going to bin too. The best wood butcher in Oz. I don't know if I can even make that claim. That's a pretty big claim. There's like a solid chance that I'm better than someone out there in all of Australia. Thanks for your vote and confidence that I could be the worst. So it's nice to have people believe in you. So I do appreciate that. Other thing I need to do is I need to clean up this because there's little bits of wood and crap on it, and I don't want to start putting dents into this right after I've sanded it. So I'm going to give this guy a vacuum. I still need to find a couple more of the grits, so I just want to get it all out there ready to go. So that's the other 180. $240. Okay. 40. Ah, there we go. All right, got a few things going on here. I think we're pretty set. Let's. I'm gonna hit the mute button here so we drop the volume a bit. It's not total mute, but it'll make it a little bit more comfortable for everyone. Other thing I want to do, I want to see if I can hook up this to a vacuum cleaner. There we go. Oh, it's nasty. So I'm not sure. I don't think I've got the right attachment for this to hook up straight to the vacuum. So, nope, same problems I had with the router, but this might go. Yeah, if I hold that in, it'll go. Let me see if I've got something else. Okay, no, all right. Can tape it in place, I think. Done that before and it's not awesome, but it will work. I'm trying to get better about using dust collection stuff. This thing's kind of useless almost. But first, I'll give this guy a bit of a vacuum and then we'll start on the stuff.